Shout out to our sponsor, Movement Watches. Get multiple watches in one with bands you can switch out for a whole new look, because who needs to buy a whole new watch for every occasion? Get 15% off your entire purchase at mvmtwatches.com/theknow. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins. We might have even more leaks associated with the next Call of Duty game. Oh, well, it is April, it's right on schedule. Last month, we learned from supposedly leaked marketing materials that it's going to be called Call of Duty World War II, or World at War II? It's not really clear, but so far all the marketing materials seem to indicate World War II, and now more marketing materials might have given away the game's official release date as well. A blurry image of the game's alleged poster has appeared online, and really, what more proof do you need on the internet, showing that it'll be out on November 3rd. That is a Friday for those checking at home. Now, there seems to be some confusion about where this poster actually originated from, so it should be taken with various grains of salt for now. But the poster does also indicate that this Call of Duty will also have an exclusive release schedule with Sony, meaning PlayStation gamers will get first dibs on new map packs. But Microsoft has heard your cries for more exclusives, Xbox gamers. They know that you want some too. Following last week's reveal of Xbox Scorpio's tech specs, marketing head Albert Pinello is now reassuring everyone that the games are on the way. Speaking on a podcast with Xbox's Major Nelson, Pinello discussed this year's E3, insisting that Xbox fans have a lot to look forward to. He said, "This is gonna be the big thing. Games, games, games. Look, I get it. I hear the feedback. I want everybody to know, games. It's coming. Today was about the specs. Today we told you what the box does. You're gonna see games we know. So, Halo Wars 3, right? Just kidding, Microsoft, please don't do that. But I would be very, very excited if E3, they just say, here are 5 exclusives, 3 of these are coming with the Scorpio launch. That would be really great. I'd love to see that mic drop moment. And we're about far enough into the reign of Phil Spencer that like those games that he would have started working on when he took over, gotta be getting pretty close-ish to talking about by now, right? Right? I like to hope so. Now, if you're technically minded and need some extra cash, maybe try to break your Nintendo Switch for a hefty payday. Not physically, don't just like smash it, not like that. Nintendo is currently on the lookout for hackers to do whatever they can to find vulnerabilities and exploits in their new console or on the 3DS, with a possible bounty ranging anywhere from $100 for the little stuff up to $20,000 depending on the size of the security breach. Nintendo specifically is on the lookout for any exploits that would enable piracy, cheating, or distributing inappropriate content to children. Just a wild hunch, but Joy-Con desync issues probably don't qualify, sorry. According to HackerOne, 3 users have already found exploits with the system, so maybe you could be next. You can help make the console better for all of us. Yeah, if you're jazzed about Prey, the sci-fi action-adventure from Arcane Studios and Bethesda, I actually got some hands-on time with it last week, and I think there's a lot to be excited about if you're into that sort of thing. You'll be able to give it a bit of a test spin for yourself before the game's launch in May. Bethesda announced today that the game's first hour will be available for play on Thursday, April 27th. Unfortunately, for PC users, that demo will only be available to PS4 and Xbox One users. You can probably thank pirates and data miners for that, because, well, that's how all information about all games is getting out when demos are released lately, so the full release of Prey is scheduled for May 5th on PC as well, so not a huge wait after that. Now, fun news, oh boy! G2A just doesn't know when to quit. After their fallout with Gearbox over the Bulletstorm Full Clip Collector's Edition and then defending themselves in a big screw you statement, which we covered in more depth yesterday, the company is now making even more comments. This time, kind of defending the use of Steam keys that come from email scams on their platform. This comes from a statement made by G2A's head of PR, responding to one developer who spoke out against G2A last week, claiming that his indie game saw a lot of scammers pretending to be YouTubers who then listed the keys he sent them on G2A. In a statement to PC Games N, G2A's head of PR said, "Well, those keys are legitimate and they're not G2A's problem." The email said, "We're sorry that there are people who are swindling keys and pretend to be YouTubers, but this is a totally different situation than someone who buys keys with stolen credit cards. And in this situation, most marketplaces would do nothing, but G2A offers G2A Direct. So just opt into the program, pay a little bit of money, you can make 10% on those keys someone else stole from you." Like, there is a point there that these are keys that were issued by the developer to people. Unfortunately, they're not actually journalists, so there should be some responsibility for due diligence theoretically on the developer's part, but defending email scammers, not a great look, guys. Microsoft laid the Kinect to rest a couple years back. Unofficially, really. They just sort of stopped putting it in Xboxes and then stopped talking about it and pretended that it had never existed ever. But legendary game designer and hype man Peter Molyneux recently revisited his feelings about the peripheral that nearly sank the Xbox One. In a recent interview with IGN Unfiltered, Molyneux laid his thoughts bare on the device, saying, "You know, Kinect, I'll be honest with you, it was a disaster." He went on to say, "It was a train wreck. It started as this device which kind of could do everything itself. It didn't take up any processor power, the field of view could encompass the whole room, the audio on it, which no one really talks about, was originally supposed to be multi-sensing, it could sense where you were, it ended up being none of those things." It is worth noting here that Molyneux himself was one of the drivers of the Kinect's hype, considering his now infamous demo of the Kinect game-ish experience maybe, Milo, which ultimately never amounted to anything. But changing subject just a little bit, because that got awkward, is Dragon Quest XI still coming to the Switch? Square Enix recently announced a Japanese release date for the game, saying it will be coming to the PlayStation 4 and 3DS on July 29th, but they were oddly quiet about the Switch version. A Square Enix spokesperson told the Wall Street Journal's Takahashi Mochizuki that the Switch support still planned, but wouldn't say anything more. On Twitter, Mochizuki quoted the spokesperson as saying, "We cannot say today whether the release date is the same as or different than the PlayStation 4 and 3DS versions." So that's understandably got some wondering if the Switch version needs more work or if it's going to be unveiled in a separate announcement, possibly at E3 or at a Nintendo Direct. Actually, Nintendo's going to be talking more about some of their release dates for games later today, but that's specifically for Splatoon 2 and ARMS, so maybe it'll get mentioned and this will be entirely outdated or not. At any rate, we probably won't be seeing the game here in the West until next year because Japan loves its Dragon Quest and they need it first. And who can blame them? We all want our Dragon Quest. Now, it looks like PC and Xbox players will soon be going head-to-head in ranked Gears of War 4 multiplayer. The game's developers said it will soon roll out a function that will allow players on both platforms to play each other in ranked matches. Some have speculated that the move is being done because PC players are experiencing long wait times for matches because there aren't enough people playing. The game has had cross-play in unranked matches for a while now, but it's only been, those social playlists. If you're an Xbox One player though, you can disable the feature and only compete against your console brethren. No word on when the feature will be rolled out, but the developer, The Coalition, says it will be implemented in the months to come. Good luck against PC players, Xbox people. You will need it. Would Guillermo del Toro ever direct a Star Wars movie? Did you get a nerd boner just hearing those words? Because I did. In an interview with Collider, he said he's had talks with Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy and Industrial Light and Magic Chief Creative Officer John Knoll about making a film in that universe. Del Toro said, "There are some characters that are great, and I have talked to Kathleen Kennedy and John Knoll about ideas, but I want to do my shit. I want to do it first. I'm veering a lot towards animation. I love animation." Del Toro said in the past that he wants to make a film about Jabba the Hutt and his rise to the top of a crime empire. At any rate, it sounds like that's not happening anytime soon, but Del Toro didn't completely close that door either. He's had talks, that's exciting, right? Now, the trailer for Thor Ragnarok was a huge hit online on Monday, picking up more than 136 million views in its first 24 hours, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The trailer set a new viewing record for any Marvel movie, and it also beat trailers from any of Disney's other divisions, which include heavy hitters like Pixar and Lucasfilm. But still, Thor and his giant green buddy might be big, they still couldn't beat the trailer for Stephen King's It, which got an incredible 197 million views in its first day because everyone loves clowns. So take that, Marvel Universe, get your own creepy clown, and then you too can have 197 million views in a day. God, that is so many views. Oculus, Remember those guys? Yeah, they want a new trial from ZeniMax, and not one in virtual reality either. Now, you might remember that earlier this year, Oculus and its parent company Facebook were ordered to pay $500 million in damages to game publisher ZeniMax, who claimed that the Oculus Rift was built on stolen technology. A jury did not agree with ZeniMax that Oculus had misappropriated trade secrets, but it did rule that Oculus co-founder Palmer Luckey failed to comply with a non-disclosure agreement, hence the $500 million verdict. Now, Oculus apparently wants a redo, saying that the verdict went against the great weight of the evidence. According to Upload VR, the headset maker has moved for a partial new trial and called the amount of damages awarded excessive. It also said that the decision was tainted by unreliable and prejudicial expert testimony. So, yeah, in a saga that's been marked by a lot of nastiness and hard feelings, it looks like the Oculus ZeniMax war isn't going to be resolved anytime soon, even though Luckey is no longer with the company. Hope you still aren't using the iPhone 5, because it's about to become obsolete a little bit earlier than usual. Gizmodo reports that the newest operating system, iOS 11, will only be available for the 5S and newer models of phone. It's the first time, according to Gizmodo, that Apple's cut off updates for a device so soon, but that it might be because of hardware limitations. A pretty minor update, iOS 10.3.2, is now in beta, and it's only supported on devices with a 64-bit processor, and the iPhone 5 only has a little bitty 32-bit processor, so that doesn't look good. Anyway, iOS 11 is set to be released this fall. You got some time. Enjoy your iPhone 5 while you can. And then they'll release a new one just in time for you to upgrade. Well, that's all the news we have for you guys today. Let us know what you think of all the stories in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video so all of the news shows up in your feed for you and so that you support us. And if you're new around here, please subscribe to The Know. Thanks to Movement Watches for sponsoring this update. Movement Watches are made with versatility in mind because you don't want to buy a new watch for every occasion. That gets really expensive really fast. This way, if you're wearing brown shoes, you just switch out your metal band for a brown band and bam, practically a new watch. This is my first grown-up watch. I got rose gold. It's got like a black watch face and I got black leather, but I've also got a nude leather one for it. And I feel like a lady. Watches start at $95, but you can get 15% off your entire purchase when you go to mvmtwatches.com/theknow.